Ecosystems placed with a global environment are only limited by the rules of nature. Ecosystems can also be attached to vectors, which define their extent and give them priority over global ecosystems in environments. Use the zoom box in the plan view and click corners around the widening of the canyon east of the main camera. Undock and drag the view to create a larger view to draw on. Render a preview. The render illustrates the challenge of distance-dissolved textures. What looks good from one camera view doesn't necessarily look good from another. We need another version of the grassland ecosystem for planimetric renders. Go to the scene at a glance and clone the grassland ecosystem. Rename it Grassland Plan. We could go to the foliage page and disable the understory and its foliage there. Well, let's do it another way. Expand the scene at a glance. Expand the Grassland Plan ecosystem, ground overlay and foliage, and grassland material. Select the understory and disable it. The Grassland Plan ecosystem will render its ground overlay only with no ecotype, so no foliage. Collapse the Grassland Plan ecosystem and return the scene at a glance to its normal condition. Open the YNP Environment Editor. Go to the Ecosystems page and grab all. That adds the new Grassland Plan ecosystem to the list. Select it and raise its rendering priority to put it at the top of the list. Save the project. Render preview. Diagnostic data tells us that the Grassland Plan ecosystem rendered on the valley floor and the pine burn ecosystem rendered on the steeper slopes. The grassland ecosystem does not appear anywhere because the Grassland Plan ecosystem took all the qualifying polygons. Select the pine burn ecosystem in the scene at a glance and create. Check the Create window title bar and confirm that you are creating a new vector for the existing ecosystem, pine burn. Left-click a couple of vertices along the north edge of the raised area in the valley. You won't see the vector on the render. If you want to check your progress, key F8 to switch to real-time view and select Yes to retain diagnostic data. This will save the render channels in memory. There you can see the vector. Key F8 back to the render. Digitizing on a render gives you scene detail and more precise vector placement. Another useful method is to have two views of the same camera open, one rendered for digitizing and one real-time for monitoring your progress. Make the YNP view active and open another plan view. Undock it and move it a little out of the way here so you can see it at the same time you're doing stuff in the plan view. Let's continue digitizing around the central high ground. Doesn't really matter what exactly you do. We just want to make a closed area that will forest here. When you're done, right-click to stop digitizing and name it Forest. Confirm that you want to add the forest vector to the pine burn ecosystem. OK. Let's dock the real-time view. Dock this view. Save the project. Render a preview. Activate the left plan view and zoom in once, twice, 3, 4 times. Let's move the camera so we can see the vector. Now it's over here. That looks good. We want to see the vector, so we have grassland on one side, forest on the other, because we're going to be looking at this transition here. Save the project, render preview. The transition from vector-bounded pine burn ecosystem to the global environment grassland ecosystem is sharp. Double-click the pine burn ecosystem to open its editor. Turn to the general page and use profile. Edit profile. A profile controls how the ecosystem is rendered from the vector inward. The left point on the profile is a distance 0 from the vector. The value is 0, which you can think of as a percentage of polygons. This means that at the vector, the pine burn ecosystem does not render on any terrain polygons. The right point on the curve is a distance 10 meters in from the vector with a value of 100. This means that 10 meters in from the vector, the pine burn ecosystem renders on all polygons. Increase the distance to 20 meters. The S shape of the curve softens the first appearance of pine burn at the vector and eases out the last of the grassland at 20 meters. Keep the changes. Activate the upper right view and render a preview. The profile yields a more natural edge to the ecosystem. Change the upper left view back to YNP main. Move the grassland plan ecosystem. This was just for plan view operations and we don't need it, so disable it. Save the project. Render a YNP main view.